This podcast is part of a series of audio recordings of assorted philosophical texts from uniquephilosophy.co.uk. You should cut down on meat. It's a common phrase, especially when referring to the red stuff. The world's evolving, people say. Times are changing. Our current ways are not sustainable. If you enjoy eating meat as much as me, and you're lucky enough to have a few friends or a decent social circle, then these are probably things that you'll hear all too often. It's the kind of in-your-face radicalism that's enough to make even some of the most reserved ladies and gentlemen cringe. Besides, does anyone even listen to these people? Do they actually get through to anyone with their repetitive and generally whining rambling? I noticed that the NHS and Public Health England have started to recommend a reduction in red meat. They have even put an emphasis on incorporating more beans and pulses into the diet and having less dairy for general health reasons. But does this represent a genuine shift in society towards a world with less meat? If you've never sunk your teeth into a thick cut of hot, tender, marinated chicken breast, then you really don't have a leg to stand on in this debate. But it's practically a fact that vegetarian substitutes, like Quorn, for example, are distasteful in comparison. They're okay, but they're not the same. I could reduce my pork and lamb intake. I could maybe even stop eating beef entirely. But to think that I could go without chicken in favour of a processed copycat with a ridiculous name is just too difficult. So, why do vegans, vegetarians, and strange hippie folk have to preach their agenda in the first place? It's not about health. It's my body. I can do what I want with it. It's not about cost. It's my wallet. I can be broke if I want to be. If you ask one of the activists these questions to their face, then they might angrily or shyly retort, "It's for the climate, bro." At this point, it's tempting to laugh. Climate change is a definite phenomenon. They got that part right. In fact, there are studies by Climate Risk Management that go as far as to say we can be 99.999% sure that humans have caused it. That's like almost 100%. If David Attenborough is right, we'll be seeing the end of the world as we know it by 2080. What these advocates of meat reduction fail to see is probably the same thing that stops big businesses and governments from acting accordingly. 2080 is 60 years from now. I don't know about you, but I'll be on my last legs by then. I can eat what I want, work hard, play hard, and live a happy, healthy-ish life before then. I don't need to worry about climate change because it's not going to affect me. Now, allow me to introduce the most shocking thing that I've ever seen in my life regarding the matter. I've heard the term climate anxiety before, but I'd never thought it could be a serious problem for children. If you go to the BBC's website and search for the term, you'll find articles from around March 2020 highlighting the worries that children have with regards to the environment and revealing the shocking statistics about what goes on in their heads. So, 80% of children said climate change is important to them, with a third saying it's very important. 2 in 5 don't trust adults to tackle the challenges that climate change presents. 2/3 say leaders aren't listening enough to young people's views. This study was done on 2,000 children, which is a pretty large sample size, and I'm a man of statistics, so that threw me a little. I have a 1-year-old son. He means everything to me, and I thought of him growing old, having children of his own, and of how exacerbated the problem will be when he gains awareness of the world around him. After looking at him, innocently playing with his shape sorter bus and munching on his apple and peanut butter, I realised that climate change isn't about us at all. It's about the generations to come. I don't know what's worse, the fact that our children could grow up in a world of extreme weather events, uncontrollable refugee immigration, droughts, polluted water, and a complete void of oxygen in the air, or the fact that he might look back and wonder why we did absolutely nothing to stop it. It takes a strong person to put someone else before them, but I have a responsibility now and learning to cook with Quan is the least I can do. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. For more podcasts and content, visit uniquephilosophy.co.uk and subscribe to my newsletter. Or visit Unique Philosophy on YouTube and subscribe to my channel.